So if we don't have it already, we'll need it later, so I'll give you time then. But if you have a towel or a band, as well as a roller or some sort of ball, like a basketball, soccer ball, I will give you options at the end for some extra things we can do today. So it's not necessary, but nice to have. So we're going to do just a really quick warm up just to get our body moving before we do the rounds, a few rounds of thoracic spine. I don't know about you guys, but I've been doing a lot of sitting in isolation. So my chest is collapsed and a lot of this is happening. So we want to open that up, especially with some of the movements we've been doing, like thrusters or any overhead work. This will help out. Please forgive me if there's any street noise. I'm outside, so every once in a while I hear a truck go by or something. If you can't hear me, let me know. Wave me down, or I do have the chat open, things like that. And we'll be able to run through everything together. So we're going to start really quick with 3 rounds. We're going to start with 30 mountain climbers. So with those mountain climbers, I want to make sure we're doing left, right, and that's 1. Cool. So it's left, right, 1, left, right, 2. So 30 mountain climbers, starting with those. Nice. Beautiful. When we're done with those mountain climbers, we're going to stay in that position and go into a plank and do 20 shoulder taps. 20 shoulder taps. There we go. Good. And in that plank position, try not to rock from side to side. You want to maintain those hips and a nice tight core. So if you need to really squeeze your butt, that'll help you out. 20 shoulder taps. And if you need to, shake it out. From those 20 shoulder taps, we're going to come into a plank again. Lean back, touch our opposite toe. So if you can't see that from the front, ooh, don't have room to plank here, but take your opposite hand to the back toe, back up. 10 of those. Good. Make sure you're returning to that plank position each time. So I want you to get a full plank and then go into that downward dog position. Nice. Good. When we're done with those, we're just going to go through that again 2 more times. So the 30 mountain climbers, 20 shoulder taps, and 10 plank toe touch. You're welcome.
I just got done with the workout too, so I'm like done.
Nice. After those 30 mountain climbers, 20 shoulder taps. So maintain those hips in nice plank position. Try not to rock from side to side. Good. And into those 10 plank toe touches. So again, we want to get that nice plank position into a downward dog. So we get a nice stretch in our hamstrings and touch the opposite toe. Got you working. All right, it'll get easier as we move on. But I want to make sure our body is nice and warm and ready for some stretching. All right, so based on our timing, we're just gonna do 2 rounds of that. So if you're already finishing up those plank toe touch, we're gonna finish out there. Awesome. All right. When we're done with that, and excuse me, I'm gonna get cut off really quickly, but I'll come back down to you guys. We're gonna do 5 inchworms with no push-ups. I wanna make sure you're getting a nice stretch in your hamstrings, touch the ground, come out, no push-ups, and right back up. Stand all the way up and back into that plank position. No push-up. You'll be doing those later, don't worry.
Oh, no push-up?
No push-up. Just up and down.
Fine, be that way.
If you want to do the extracurricular, you can do it. Good. When we're done with those 5 inchworms, we're going to stay there. We're going to come into a downward dog and then drive our chest nice and close to the ground and up without touching, just getting nice and close. So downward dog and then scooping your body nice and close into upward. From the side, if you can't see that, make sure you don't knock anything else over. From here, nice and close. Whoa! No, very close to the wall. Got a little extra mobility with that wall there. Great. Nice, and 5 of those. Good. When we're done with those, nice and easy, we're just going to do 10 cat-cows. So it's easier for me to do it this way. Really big arch, and a nice big saddle. Really big arch, really press through that mid-back, and then arch it. 10 cat-cows. Nice. Get nice and big, get some exaggerated motion in there. When we're doing the cow part, where our back comes up, we want to look up. When we're doing cat, our head comes down and curls into our chest. Nicely done. When we're done with those, we're going to do 5 bird dogs each side. So whichever hand is coming forward, the opposite leg comes up as well. And we want to keep it nice and straight. Make sure we're not rocking our hips from side to side. And transition nice and smooth. Take it slow so we're not rocking. 5 each side. Really maintain a nice tight core. Good. Nice. Awesome. When we're done with that, we're going to do 1 more round. So with those 5 inchworms, no push up. Making sure we're getting a nice stretch in our hamstrings. At the top of one, maybe just let yourself hang down a bit. Feel where your back is at, where your legs are at. Kind of gain a little more awareness as we're doing these. All right. When we're done with those 5, we're back into those dive bomb push-ups. So that downward dog, scoop it up into upward. Try to keep your thighs and your stomach off the ground. Be on your toes for these when you're coming up into upward. Good. And that downward dog, making sure you're pressing through, get a nice stretch through your back. And then scoop yourself up. Nice. Well, we're done with those 5. Back into those 10 cat-cows. So nice, big, exaggerated motions. Ten of those. Nice. When we're done with those 5 per side, those bird dogs. So starting in that tabletop position, opposite leg, opposite hand, come up. Transition nice and slow, making sure we're not rocking. If I were to place a ball on your back, that ball should stay in place. Keep your core nice and tight. Nicely done. All right, so let's get into some of the fun stuff. We're going to start out with some T-spine rotations. So a lot of this is going to be focusing on a twisting motion. So all of these, take it easy. Don't overdo it. Don't push your body into movements. Make sure you're controlling it nice and easy. So with these T-spine rotations, normally we would be up here. Instead, I want you to drop to your elbows and then bring your hips back to your heels. You need to adjust your elbows closer to your body. This is going to force us to get a little more focus on our mid-back. So we're going to start here. Elbow's going to come up, twist, back down, twist, and back down. We're going to do 10 per side. And take them nice and slow. Try to drop your hips back towards your heel. That's going to make you focus on using that mid-back and getting a nice stretch there instead of a full hip extension. If our hips are up, we can use our whole back. If our hips are down, we lose that mobility down there. And we're forced to use our upper body. So 10 each side. Nice. When we're done with those, we're going to go into scorpion. So we're going to lie on our stomach. Arms are going to be out wide. Bear with me, I don't have a ton of room here. Arms are going to be wide. We're going to do a nice slow twist. Try not to swing it. Make sure you're getting a nice stretch to your low back. Try to keep your shoulders squared. And again, we're going to do 10 each side. Try to get that foot to the ground if you can. You can bend your knee for the one that's coming over. So 20 total. Nice. Good. This will also help open up our hips just a little bit, as well as our shoulders. A lot of times when we get that collapsed feeling, our chest is tighter and pulling us in. So this will also help open this way. Oh, the chime sounds so nice. Nice. Good. Great. When we're done with that, come back to your knees. We're going to thread the needle. So we're going to be in a tabletop position. One arm is going to come down and through. I'm going to rest on that shoulder for 30 seconds. Again, don't try to force anything. We are trying to get a nice stretch through our mid back, but if this is uncomfortable, move your arm up. We have 15 seconds. Try to relax into it with each breath. Get a little deeper. If you want an extra challenge, the hand that's holding you up can come up over your head. That'll give you a little deeper stretch. Good. And switch arms. Three, two, one. Nice. All right, we're gonna come back up. We're gonna be sitting on our knees, on our, like so, saddle position. We're gonna try to cross our arms. If we can, grab here. Again, this is one of those ones where a towel could come in handy, just a rag or a t-shirt. If we can't, just hold on any part of your arm that you can reach. This should give us a nice stretch in our upper back, right above our scaps. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. So again, if you can, try to grab hands. If that's not an option, you can grab your arm. If we have a towel and that's still uncomfortable, we can use a towel here. Towel, band, anything will work. And 3, 2, 1. From there, we're going to stay in this position. One arm is going to come over, one arm behind. So as you can tell, my mobility is also limited. Our goal is to touch hands, if not grab. Again, this is where a towel or anything will come in handy. Good. Try to push our chest forward and up. Good. And 3, 2, 1. We're going to switch that position. Good. So we're just doing the other arm now. And if we are using something, either a stick or towel, you can slowly inch your hands closer together using that. If we don't have it, just make sure we're pressing through, keeping that chest high. Two and one. Good. Great. From here, I'm going to have you guys lie on your side. Your arms are going to be out in front of you. Your top leg comes down and the knee touches. Both hands are going to come out. The top one, its goal is to keep touching the ground all the way around into that T position. And then all the way back around, maintaining that touching all the way across the floor. Sorry, I might have lost you guys there for a second. So nice big sweeping motion until our arms are outward. So I'm going to do 10 each side. It's a tough one. On our last one, we're going to hold in that twisted T position. Good. That's why we're taking this class, Phil. We're working on it. Good. And then we're going to switch sides. So same thing. We're gonna lie on our opposite side. That top leg knee comes forward, hands in front of us. Try to sweep around. On each side. In class, I may have had you do this kneeling. So we're up against the wall and pulling around on the wall. Also a way to do that. If we don't have the floor space and we do have an empty wall to do that. Nice. And again, on that last one, we're just going to hold it for a few seconds. They slowly count to 15. Nice. And come back up. So this next option, you do have a few ways to do this. If you have a railing or anything like that, you can come up to it and press through this way. Same thing if you have a chair, a sofa, anything like that to press through. If not, we're gonna get our hips nice and high, kind of like child's pose, but we're gonna keep our hips high. And we're gonna push through our chest. Our goal is to get our chest to the ground. On the side, we don't have anything to press through on. Here, arms forward, hips stay high, chest to the ground. If you do have something to press through on, awesome. Let your hips come back like someone's pulling them back with a rope, and let your head drop through, open through there. I'm gonna hold that for a bit. Good. As we're breathing through on the exhale, see if you can get a little deeper into that. Good. Let your hips get pulled back. Really extend your spine and push through. I used to have a gym partner whose overhead mobility was abysmal, so I just sit on his back in this position. Give him a little extra pressure. You can do this with weight once we get a little more mobility. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Bring it on up. Awesome. So we're about 24 minutes in. The next work is going to be roller work if you have one. If not, if you have a soccer ball, basketball, heck, a Nalgene or a water bottle that's thick enough. Those are all options. If you don't, there are varieties to work on these using a backpack or a sandbag that are a little more static. I like having a roller so that you can get a little more movement with it. Let's see. Awesome. So I'm going to face this way just so you guys can see what my leg position is and where I'm extending. I'll wait till Phil gets back. Got the good stuff. All right. So with that roller, we're going to place it right before we hit our low back. So right here in that mid back, if you wear a sports bra, right below that. We're going to let our back drape over it. One leg is going to come up. We're going to put our hands in a crunch position. Calm down, and crunch up. Calm down, crunch up. We're going to do 5 of those each leg. Good. So we want to maintain contact with that roller. So it's not so much throwing ourselves over as just letting it roll gently in that mid back just a little bit. Good. So try to get that roller just a little bit higher.
So towards my shoulder blades?
Yes. So it's going to be right in that mid back rather than our low back. Good. Good. And so each leg is going to be bent, and we'll do that 5 times each leg. Nice. Try to keep your heel in contact with the floor, just little crunches. Good. When we're done with those, same position. Again, we want it to be about mid-back, right here. Anywhere from there to just below our shoulder blades, our arms are gonna hug ourselves really, really tight and press through our back. We're gonna lift our hips and just roll through that. You can get right up to your shoulder blades. If you can, maintain a nice plank position through this, just using your legs to roll through. Good. I'm going to spend about a minute rolling that area out. Good. If you find a hot spot, let yourself relax into it. I always do this during the workday every hour or so, just to make sure I'm not hunching, and I'll get a nice little pop at the same spot every time. Good. So we're going to stay there, but we're going to let our hips drop to the ground once we get back to mid-back. Hips drop to the ground, and our arms are going to drop overhead. Get a nice stretch. If we have anything to hold on to, you can hold on to that. If not, just let your arms drape back. Let yourself fall over. If this is uncomfortable and you need to move the roller at all, go ahead and do so, but we do want to focus on that mid-back, so your bra line or just below it. Stretch over. I like having a weight on top, so like so that my arms are forced to stay in position. I have to breathe through it. When we're holding this position, breathing should be a little difficult because our rib cage is being extended out. Make sure to breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. Do this slowly, and make sure you don't panic through this. Good. I'm just going to hold that position. If it ever gets uncomfortable, come back up. I do want your hips to try to keep your butt on the ground. That's our main focus. If you need to bend your legs, that's fine. Good. And with that, you can do a couple overhead extensions. So we're just going to come down. Same thing as that crunch. Just little bitty sit up, back down. So there's just going to be a little bit of roll, maybe an inch or two across your back as you move. I'm going to do 5 of those. Good. Nice. Little tiny sit-ups. Our main focus is that extension back. Good. Nice. When we're done with that, if you have any other questions about if we're feeling tight there still, if that didn't help out at all, let me know so that I can improve for our next class. I want to make sure you guys are getting as much as you can out of this. So I'm trying to focus on areas. If you have anywhere you want to focus on, just post in the Facebook group or on Instagram in our messages, and we can tackle that next. I am trying to figure out with the at-home workouts what we're working the most. So our legs and hips are working a lot. So I am trying to mix it up and make sure those get in there as well. But again, if you have any suggestions or anything that you want to see, let us know on those pages. Cool?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for joining, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Good to
All right,
see you guys.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Phil.
Bye.